broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Up your bow and play your fiddle hard.
Oh boy.
The devil went down to Georgia, but in this case, the devil went down to Hollywood, California, to reinvent himself as something new. Guys, thank you for watching the after show for Lucifer here on AfterBuzz TV. If you haven't already, please go to iTunes, look up AfterBuzz TV Lucifer, give us a rating, 5 stars, and give us a comment. We will read it out on the show. Guys, thank you for tuning in. We're talking about Season 1, Episode 3, entitled The Would-Be Prince of Darkness.
That's it.
Not the would-be prince, as in Purple Rain Prince, but like Dark Black Rain Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I am your host, Stephen Lemieux, but joining me, because they're so amazing and because they decided to stay up till 11 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the West Coast, which is where we tape this live and where you can watch it.
We're adults.
We have
Stay up.
No
We're
bedtime
adults.
here.
Mr. Dave Child.
Hi, I'm Mr. Dave Child. You can find me at Mr. Dave Child on Twitter or davechild.com.
And the amazing and lovely, and has the voice of Mila Kunis. If you haven't noticed that already, I'm sorry for calling you out on that live on air.
No worries.
Samantha Benitz.
Hi, guys. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha_Benitz.
All right, guys. So we're going to break down this episode. Overall, really quick, I just want your thoughts. Every week we're going to kind of do the thoughts on where the show's heading before we break into the episode, because I think that's really important to see where you guys' heads are at.
Yeah, it makes sense. It's a new show, so there's so many different directions it could take.
Well, I just like that if you listen to the first 5 minutes of each show from the season, you can see if the writing has kind of changed our minds at all, if you really go over your overall thoughts. So, Dave, you take the floor or table or proverbial surface.
Well, this one was a tough one for me. I'm going to be honest. It's not really... It was more procedural than supernatural, and I think that's where me and the show are going to kind of have a little bit of a tiff sometimes. Because there was no Amenadiel, there was no other angels, there was no even really talk of, you don't see very much devil powers in this one either. So it was a bit of a toughie for me to get through, but it was still fine. It was like a nice episode of Castle. That's what I thought this one was.
Samantha?
I actually kind of like this episode. I mean, I like the dilemma with Ty, and I thought it was kind of a cool way to take it between the agent and everything. So I enjoyed the procedural aspects of it, but I also did want to see a little bit more devilish tendencies, which I know are dying to come out of Lucifer. But I did like the scene, I must say, with the Lucifer copycat who was trying to take his place.
Right.
Taking his stuff, a good little side storyline. I really liked the episode, and I mean, I think when you came off of just watching it, Samantha, you liked it a lot more than it kind of seems like now. But I mean, I can see where Dave, you raised some good points on the show. I think there's room for a new show like Castle here, though. I think that Castle's on its 6th season now. I think 5th or 6th season right now. A lot of the shows that have that supernatural aspect, but really deal with the morality and deal with combining it without having it be too saturated with monsters and ghouls and all that, all the above. Like, I think there's a place for that. And I think having a new show that can go potentially 5 or 6 seasons on a larger overarching storyline is good. Now, suffice to say, the pacing has been good so far.
Right.
But you play a very dangerous game when you do something like this. So you don't know, like, I want to see... What I hope to get out of the season is an overarching storyline that could go 3, 4, 5 seasons long that isn't a storyline that we've already seen so far. Because I feel like if we don't get the end of at least, like, why is he here, or what is happening in hell while he's here, or just kind of like what's changing him, or what Chloe is, if we don't get that by the end of this season, I'm a little bit worried. At least give us like a breadcrumb.
Yeah.
Like, make us able to at least figure out something's different about Chloe, whether it's supernatural or otherwise. I think we need that by the end of the season at the very least.
Right. I'm also like I'm not exactly in need of always to have supernatural. I don't need to see him in red face like every single episode or anything like that, but I do. My favorite part about the Lucifer storyline and having Lucifer be a character is his existential kind of bigger themes that come with him. Every time he has daddy issues or he wonders what's his point of being there or why is he pursuing it, or even his transformation to kind of he's worried that he's becoming good. I need to have a moment of that, and I liked last week's episode because even the crime they're trying to solve kind of mirrored what his own transformation that he's going through. Because I had the paparazzi that was like trying to be good but also still bad deep down in the bone, or feeling like he's not transforming enough. This episode, it didn't feel like it had any sort of relation to the personal journey that Lucifer's going through himself. And
I disagree.
Yeah, I completely disagree.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought it was so on the nose.
I mean,
do you
yeah.
want?
I was
maybe I just
thinking the
missed
whole
it.
scene with Maze where he was going to torture the guy and he kind of lets him off free at the end just kind of showed he's becoming a little more human-like and just a little bit more compassionate, and he doesn't really always need to punish people that aren't inherently bad to me. So it kind of showed me that he's not just this evil devil, flipping out the red eyes every time in the horns. To me, the fact that he was willing to compromise his own, responsibilities as the devil, to me shows that he is changing and he is kind of evolving while spending time in LA near Chloe and away from all these evil people.
It's interesting you said that as your reason, because I have a completely different reason.
Let's hear it.
I think the whole storyline with the football player and everything that's going on in that has to do with Lucifer. It's all about branding. Last episode we dealt with the word is really escaping me right now. It's dealing with like the deal with good and can people change. This episode is dealing with can somebody's image change. So you have the football player who has a specific image and he does something and gets angry based on his image hypothetically being tarnished by this woman with this video. So the football player was angry. And
the B storyline is the fake devil who's fake Lucifer who's tarnishing his image in the real world.
Right.
I guess I kind of missed...
And the other correspondence is, I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah.
Ty was angry when he saw the video being taken. But Ty didn't murder the girl because it's not the girl's fault. It's not like, why would Ty's anger be directed at the girl? Just like, why is Lucifer's anger being directed at this guy? Okay. So there's lots of different plot points that intersect with each other. Right. It's just you have to kind of like look at it from a more abstract view to kind of see where they're coming from. And that's why I'm really liking this, because the show is very procedural so far, but they're being clever with comparing humanity to the struggles of a devil, which is what I think is really cool.
I think the reason why I didn't see it so clearly is because it's showing a transformation of Lucifer I kind of don't want to happen. I kind of don't want him to become more human. And I know this is what they're doing with the storyline right now, where he's becoming more human, he's becoming a better person, and I want it to be... I want him to be evil. I want him to be evil and dark, and I feel like I want him to be underneath someone who has a code and a moral compass of his own, but he's still better than the humans around him. And right now he's the most charming guy in the room. I want him to be like the smartest guy in the room. And he's not quite there yet. He's just kind of the guy that can smile and charm the pants off everyone. But he's going in this direction of like becoming a hero and becoming an angel again. And I think that's what they're doing with him, or becoming human. And I want him to be badass. I want him to be like the Prince of Darkness. I
think this is a kind of like 5 or 6 episode storyline with him changing. I don't think you can't take a show and say, all right, let me pitch this show. The devil, Los Angeles, he becomes a detective. And then make him a human one season. Yeah, you can't make him a human one season in. I think there's multiple things at play here, whether it's Amenadiel, whether it's actually God, or whether it's Lucifer's own trial dealing with not punishing people. Like, if he's not punishing enough people, and that's what's making him lose his powers, we see in the preview something about him, are we going to have to go back to hell? Where you're like, okay, because you have to get your power back, or whatever it is. But I think the reason the procedural has made sense so far, and the reason I'm hopeful, because the writers have been smart so far to make this subtly reference everything, is you can't see inside Lucifer's mind.
Right.
If you were to go inside Lucifer's mind and he was just to tell you exactly what's going on with him and why he's making the decisions he's making, the show would be so boring. So what they're doing is they're creating a metaphor for what's happening inside his mind within the stories that he's dealing with. So I think every episode is going to deal with another problem that's happening with Lucifer, but they're going to tell it through the stories of these human characters.
I totally agree. I saw in a recent interview with Tom Ellis on Good Day LA where he basically mentioned like his inner turmoil and said, am I the devil because I'm inherently evil, or am I the devil because my dad made me do it? So I feel like that's his big conundrum throughout this entire season. He wants to stick in his place because he knows what he does and he does it so well, and then he gets to have his cake and eat it too, in my opinion. He gets to do whatever he wants, charm the pants off of any woman, and have the ability to pull out anybody's deepest desires. So that part's all well and dandy, but the interesting part is that he's willing to use those powers for somewhat of a good reason, to only hurt the bad guys, which that's good because it shows he does have kind of a conscience in some regard. But then again, I don't know how long he's going to stick with his devilish ways. But he does have the other influence of Maze constantly pulling him back into his evil, nature.
Right. Well,
let me throw something at you real quick, Dave. Hold that thought, though. I don't want.
By the way, I do want to comment. We are reading the chats.
Yeah,
so
Dave's got that on lock.
Please chat at us. We might be distracted by talking about our own thoughts, but the chats are still being read.
And before you say your thought, let me throw this at you. You may say they didn't deal with any of the change in him this episode too much with Too Human. But look at him every time he asks what their desires are. It's way harder than it was in the first or second episode. And he can't even get the true desires out after 2 or 3 times. You see that with Ty.
Pull it out, yeah.
So you can see his powers weakening. And I guarantee you, if the devil was pissed off and punched somebody in the chest, they would fly much further than in just one glass window.
Yeah, that's true. I think it's just because he's weakening so fast. And I think they're going to address this in the next episode. But it's like he didn't punish anyone. We saw him just talk to someone and push the producer up against the wall in the pilot. And then the second episode, we see that he's traumatized for life, that guy. And this time, he let 2 people go with really no punishment at all. He threw one guy through a window, and the other guy, he just had no punishment. So, which really surprised me, because it seemed like it was a big departure from the Lucifer we met previously, who gets off on punishing, and the whole reason throughout this whole episode he's trying to find these people is so he can punish them, and then he feels like just putting them in handcuffs and having the police take them away is punishment enough. I feel like I wanted to see that masochistic. That's not the right word, but the guy that to take the punishment out of them.
Let me throw a theory your way then, Dave.
Okay.
What if this show goes more towards the way of Dexter, with Dexter and his sister Deborah Morgan, where Dexter is the murderer of serial killers and Deborah is the one who catches them? Because with that show, you saw the change when Dexter decided to start helping his sister as opposed to stealing the people away. This isn't really spoiler talk because it's very vague.
Yeah, it's also the...
But then this series is going the way of Lucifer wants to punish people like the first episode. But now, just to keep working with Chloe, to keep her interested, he's giving up the baddies.
Right.
Because as much as you've wanted him to see him punish the fake Lucifer, if he had done that with all the FBI agents watching at that moment, what would have happened? Abby would never work with him again. So he gives him up. And then you see at the end with the agent, who's the one who calms him down and stops him from punishing him?
Instantly.
It's Chloe. So imagine we get Lucifer coming to the realization that it's not Chloe that's making him human. It's that he is holding off punishment because of Chloe. So she is, through procedure, making him human, but it's not her directly.
Right.
So what we might see is a darker side of Lucifer going after the baddies, finding out who they are with Chloe, and then might necessarily be taking them to a dark room before she catches them.
That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that there was. I even hoped when he was like, "Okay, fake Lucifer, faux devil, go off and do whatever you want." I was hoping the next scene was going to be, he's secretly doing something terrible to him, and I hope that as this series goes on, we see that he's manipulating everyone in a way we don't even know. That's kind of my dream for the show, is that he is someone who's taking charge in a way we don't even see right now. And I'm not sure that's happening, but I hope it is. I hope you're right. So.
I think that's going to happen a little bit later. I feel like right now he doesn't have the reins, but some course of action is going to happen, and then he's going to have to refigure out how to establish his position in the hierarchy, because he's always been the prosecutor. So once he loses that title or his ability to do the things he's done for billions of years, then to me it's going to be for however long the devil has ever been alive, nonetheless.
I would.
There is by the way, with the unfortunate name of Boo69Bs, made a good point and said, "Do you think Chloe is making Lucifer human or taking his powers?" Which is an interesting way of wondering. We don't know who Chloe is. A lot of people in the chat earlier I saw were talking about whether Chloe was. I can't pronounce the word, so maybe someone who. Is the child of a god and the offspring of a god somehow. And that's why she's not being affected by Lucifer. So maybe just the presence, maybe she is a being of some sort that is sucking out the powers from him, like actually supernatural wise rather than just philosophy wise.
I'm gonna throw a huge prediction out here.
Okay.
I don't know if they would ever reveal this in the first season. It's probably series stuff. But I think Chloe is God. If you're gonna go down that road, it'd be more interesting to go to the complete extreme than it would to just say she's some magical beast. Because if you really think about it, couldn't Chloe just literally be God without knowing it?
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of like mythos out there of people and souls and gods, or humans are actually just gods who are bored that decide, let's go and let's become a life to have 100 years of interest.
Yeah. I mean, she could also be Jesus, essentially, or like, which is
a prophet, an
aspect of God in a lot of ways. Something that the comic tends to do in like the foreword of the first edition of the comic. The creator specifically talked about how he left out Jesus in the storyline because he liked it being a story of a son fighting the father and kind of dealing with the father's aims, and he felt like at least in the first storyline, keeping Jesus out of it made it more complicated because then he's like dealing with a sibling basically when it comes to Jesus. So, but that could be something that the show can explore if she's an offspring of God or a side of God. So he's basically dealing with his sister this entire time, which makes kind of their romance a little weird, but that could be where they're going with it. Or she's some other former prophet, like a Mary type figure too.
Can you just imagine like 2,000 years from today, and people are like, and it was said that the prophet had said and thrown up in high school hot tub
just thinking.
Like,
I was
in the second
hard
chapter.
For me to believe with a topless scene in a young movie. God.
I don't know. Jesus might have done some crazy stuff. He turned water into wine.
What would Jesus do? Is that where it comes from?
Not to open up these
that
doors.
Mary Magdalene was a looker.
Yeah, but there's a lot of time missing from that Bible. You see him as a baby, and then he's 30 years old, and you don't know what's happening in his 20s. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, we're really pissing off the million moms of America.
We're already
right now.
talking about Satan as a redemptive character.
I think it's kind of awesome to be able to, come into work, talk about Satan for an hour. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a little bit rewarding.
Yeah, it's not so bad.
If you like listening about Satan for an hour, you guys should definitely go to iTunes, search AfterBuzz TV Lucifer, leave us a comment and a rating. Give us 5 stars if you like the show.
Yeah, like the points on a pentagram, 5 stars.
If you don't like the show, just give it 4 stars, and we'll still kind of like deal with what your comment was, and we'll actually listen to it because constructive criticism is great.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you're Tom Ellis listening to this, you should just come on the show, because that's
totally.
Just saying.
that is tradition.
Exactly.
As is tradition.
So I'm trying to talk about next week. Are we there yet? We're not there yet.
We're not there yet.
No, we're
I
not.
do want to talk about everything that went with. I mean,
By the way, I'm angering people talking about them as siblings on the chat because everyone's shipping them like
God.
crazy. They're setting that up. There's a lot of like
people just want the good-looking people to get together.
Yeah.
Because Chloe is just ridiculously
You know what-
good-looking.
Yeah.
You know
Yes.
what would be interesting? If we are going down the Castle Bones direction, they could produce an offspring, and then you have the spawn of Satan. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexis.
Thank you. That was beautiful. Oh, man.
That was good. I mean, I saw in an interview recently that they were joking too that Tom Ellis said Lauren is the reason that Lucifer wants to leave hell, kind of, alluding to the fact that Chloe is so attractive. Why wouldn't he want to?
Right.
So, let's talk a little bit about the case of the week,
Yeah.
but only a little bit about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Good old Ty.
I don't know if it was just me because I watch a lot of TV that as soon as I saw the agent and he said I'd do anything to protect my client, I knew that he was the one who killed her.
Right.
Yep.
I was pretty much 100% sure at that point. I did like I liked the little twists they threw in, but it was after the first episode with the producer and after this, I'm like, okay, it's the agent that killed her.
Yeah, I'm so prejudiced against wanting the show to become more about demons and angels. I keep it like maybe there's like a demon on the loose, and that's what it like. There's one part where he looked at a girl barfing in a bush after the big party where the woman is killed, and she's kind of like doing a weird motion with her face.
Heaving.
Yeah, like probably bad extra work, just like and making this weird noise that I'm like, we're gonna find out that's a demon eating a bush. And I was like, but of course,
Underwhelmed.
it was just,
That didn't come true.
It wasn't true at all.
I almost made a really poor taste joke. It was about Lucifer in the bed.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Yeah,
Won't say-
Lucifer's
won't say
no
it on
stranger
it.
to that.
By the way, nobody sleeps like that if they had sex. Just
Yeah.
so everyone knows, like those girls would not have underwear on. But this is Fox, so we'll just treat it
Yeah.
as it is.
I also love that the girls just stay asleep, even though it's like something's happening, and the girls just-
Lucifer, come help us.
They would be so cold.
well, I'm sure Lucifer is generates a lot of heat.
Well, he's also fully clothed as well, so
Yeah, well, that's true.
he does generate a lot of heat.
Yeah,
That's good.
Yeah,
I see what you're
not
doing. So we're introduced to the football player Ty. This is kind of loosely based on Russell Wilson.
I was just thinking that the Ciara relationship.
Sure, sports.
You wanna go into it? You might know a little bit more about this. How him and his girlfriend broke up because he would not have sex with her.
Yes, so I mean that's what's addressed on this show. I'm not really sure what's going on with Ciara and Russell Wilson, but nonetheless, in this show we see that Lucifer tempts Ty in the initial scene where he wants him to sleep with this beautiful redhead, and he's basically trying to push him onto her. But the guy's kind of not feeling it. He's a virgin. He doesn't really want to waste it. He's out of a long relationship, he says, with a girl he really loves, which we're introduced to her later, Deborah, and you can just see that he's a celebrity virgin in LA. Which is a huge wow, that is unique out here. And clearly they're trying to just maintain this squeaky clean image. And that's why I agree with you when you said that it was so clear it was the agent. To me, image is everything in LA. And as soon as I saw that character, I was like, oh, number 2. It's always
Right.
number 2.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But nonetheless, I think that's a really interesting thing that they touched on because it does show a lot of how society views that today and kind of how there is a lot of temptation, especially in LA, but even furthermore in the public eye.
Yeah, I also like how this episode we had a case being brought by Lucifer to the police rather than the other way around, like the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I guess the first episode, it was his case still, but then he kind of kept following the police around. And this time he kind of brought them into it, which was kind of nice. You kind of saw that there's a reason why he was hanging out there, because he's intrigued by humans, and especially someone who is a virgin, and he kind of wanted to tempt the virgin out of him, which was a side of Lucifer I loved seeing. I liked seeing him like kind of try and ruin, because I kind of felt like virgin was almost code for Christian in a way. So it was a nice way of making him more of the devil by like having him turn away from like more of a Christian morals.
Moral code,
Yeah. So
I think we also learned that the devil can't punish outside of sin, like outside of real sin, in that he didn't have, his anger really wasn't towards the guy who stole his ID.
Right.
All that I did was go around, say he's Lucifer Morningstar, and sleep with women and run up tabs.
Do a little rap battle as well.
And if you're literally going to consider a comparison,
Right.
who should he be angry at? That he's not punishing somebody who murdered somebody and blamed it on somebody else, or the guy who just said he was Lucifer and ran up a tab?
Right, clearly.
right, I feel like if this happened to pre-pilot Lucifer, though,
Oh yeah,
I think he would
totally
be like flayed
wrapped.
on a stick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so I kind of miss it.
I don't think that we might. I think that we might get that guy back. You
I
know,
hope
when he's
so.
going to go back to like, oh, let's. Who should we start with? Let's bring back Justin from Sherman Oaks.
Right. That
And
could be a
just
good, sign that
callback.
that the human in him is getting destroyed by actually destroying that human.
So let's go ahead and talk about Chloe. I mean, we went over what Lucifer's dealing with. I think next episode's going to deal with a lot. I think the fact that his charm was a lot weakened, and the fact that he didn't outright murder the guy by shoving him through the window is a
Right.
good sign that his powers are weakening. Next episode, we'll see them weakening even more. I think by episode 6, he'll probably be back to normal, though. I don't see this
Or more
storyline.
powerful.
Yeah, I don't see the storyline carrying out through the entire season because it's just going so fast for the pacing.
Right.
Chloe talks to Trixie today. We see a little bit more of a crack forming in the partnership between her and her ex-husband, where the ex-husband, because of work, could not pick up Trixie from something or couldn't appear there.
Right.
It was like a throwaway line, but it just was a little bit there. And Trixie is talking to her mom, and her mom's like, how does Lucifer do this? And Trixie's like, oh, he's a magician.
Yep.
Why don't you just ask him? Oh, because he'll tell me the truth and I won't believe it anyway.
Exactly.
But at the end of the episode, everyone's kind of stunned. It seems like Chloe's the only one who's like
Not believing it.
surprised that a man who obviously weighs like 210 to 230 pounds was thrown like that through a
Yeah.
window
Yeah.
8 feet over. Everyone else is kind of like, all right. And Ty's like, yeah, man, I owe you one.
Yeah, well, I feel like that might be part of Lucifer's powers, is to kind of be like...
Nobody really.
For no one to really realize how crazy it is that he's this, supernatural, or that they say this stuff around him. Because otherwise they would be like, why do I keep saying this stuff? No one... everyone kind of shifts the...
It's a perception filter.
Yeah, that's kind of what I see.
There you
go.
But
it's
Chloe's
that
immune,
thing.
so she sees it.
Yeah.
It's weird that she doesn't believe him to me, though, because she sees him kind of, trying to pull down the guard of the agent, by using his little
Right.
eye-gazing trick that he does and just says, tell me your desires. And every time he does that, to me, she just sits back and lets him do his thing. And I'm thinking, how are you not already seeing that he's the devil,
It's the
considering all
Chris
that he's
Angel
done?
syndrome.
Yes,
It's
just
like
doesn't want to believe it.
Chris Angel does crazy stuff, but he's just such a douche while doing it that
And
you just
no
don't
one
want to
will
believe it.
that he's the devil.
Mind freak.
I was hoping for another sting there. After
Nope,
saying
you
Chris-
don't deserve that one.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough.
If Chris Angel was the devil, then I really don't want to go to hell. So
Wow.
thank you, Alexis Lemieux. If you guys like our booth voice, you can follow her on Twitter at atorres890. So she is suspicious of Lucifer.
Right.
The
She's-
real question is not what is she going to find out about Lucifer, because that is the most mundane bullcrap
Right.
ever, because he's laid it all out there. He's literally saying, hey,
Yeah.
I'm Satan. Hi, I'm Satan. Lucifer Morningstar over here, punishing people, making guy go completely insane, throwing an
Stopping
agent.
time.
Yeah, I do all that shit. Pardon my language. I do all that stuff. And you don't believe I'm the devil, so now you're going to investigate me, really? The real question which I want to ask you guys is, what do you think she's going to find out about Mazikeen, Amenadiel, or maybe herself through investigating Lucifer?
That's what I'm wondering, because I think as soon as she realizes that he is actually the devil, and it's going to be a question of like, well, why doesn't the powers work on me? And then they're both going to be investigating what's her deal this entire time. So, and then that'll kind of open up the doors to all the, hopefully more supernatural things.
That's what I was thinking. I think she's going to be angry at first, kind of like, I can't be associated with the devil,
right.
With a daughter and a job that she really cares about. But I really think after she gets over that and realizes, oh, well, he's helped out on several cases and kind of put bad guys in jail and helped attain justice, that she'll utilize his powers. But I do think she's going to research, since she already did a little typing up and checking up on him, even with the hypnosis thing. She wanted to see if he was trying to trick her using magic or any of those things. So as soon as she confirms that he's the devil, I'm feeling like she's going to be going online, figuring out who else are the power players in his, inner circle. And then he's going to find out about...
Let me just Google who else from hell is here.
I really do.
Who else is the devil?
Can I go to hell.google.com and just figure this out?
I mean, I'm sure there is one. You would be surprised. But nonetheless, I really think that she's going to find out about whoever could be a force in her life. Considering if the devil's real, then any of it could be real. So
yeah, I mean, it'll open up a whole new world to her, and then she'll want to kind of...
I'm so sorry.
I
can show you hell. That's not a good pickup line. Anyone, please don't use it.
Brimstone and sulfur. Tell me, princess, now when did you last get flayed alive? A whole new hell.
I thought you were about to go into tell me, princess, what are your desires?
Yeah.
What do you desire?
Tell me. Yeah, anyway.
I think the big twist is she's going to find out he's not really British.
Well,
Oh,
I know.
no.
That
But,
came out tonight. Fake accent. She said.
Yeah.
I think... I think, as my prediction from last week carries over slightly, that her investigating Lucifer will give Amenadiel and Mazikeen a chance to work together.
Yeah.
And unknowingly have her help him. And when she realizes that he is who he says he is, and she has a chance to send him away, she'll be the one to save him from Amenadiel and Mazikeen's plan to send him back to hell. Because I think you have Lucifer, who doesn't want to go to hell, but he has no one on his team keeping him on Earth. Because everyone else really wants him to go back to hell because stuff's going down. You have Amenadiel and you have Mazikeen, who both want him to go back to hell because Mazikeen's bored, and Amenadiel is like, I don't want to be Satan. I don't want to be the next one. I don't want God to rip my wings off unwillingly and send me down there for billions of years. So on the mortal side, you have Chloe, who hypothetically is immune to powers of otherworldly beings.
Yeah.
So if there was anyone that could resist anything Mazikeen or Amenadiel are doing to save Lucifer from being sent back to hell, it's going to be Chloe.
Except Chloe, Angel Time works on Chloe.
Angel Time works on Chloe, yes.
Yeah.
But you have another situation where is Lucifer losing his powers because she's stealing them? And if so, is she more powerful now or later?
Right. What if they're switching?
You don't know what they're kind of doing with that, so you can't rule anything out on that front yet.
True.
Or you can say she's only immune to devil's powers because she's the devil's daughter, or she's only immune to heaven's powers because she's heaven's daughter, whatever. Or she's a Jedi and she can go to the light or dark side, whatever you want to do.
That would be grosser if she turns out to be his daughter this entire time.
But I think our deciding factor is we need Chloe to get to a point in this season to make the decision of her own volition that she wants Lucifer to stay on Earth. And I think that's going to be the real big climax of the season is Lucifer will be in a position where he's being sent back to hell, and it has to be a human to prevent it from happening. But what human is going to willingly tell the devil he can stay on Earth?
Oh, that's interesting.
So I think that's the huge switch that we're probably going to see at the end of this season. That's my prediction.
Well, I have a prediction for next week's episode specifically.
Shoot.
Okay. Well, in the comics, there's a big storyline of getting
Comic spoilers, anyone,
comic spoilers.
just so you know.
A little bit. I mean, this is kind of what the
And this show doesn't go on the comics really at all.
Yeah,
so, it's not,
so this is like the first storyline is him realizing, and I forget why, and so that, yeah, anyways, he has to get his wings back. Lucifer lost his wings, actually not when he fell and started taking over hell, but when he retired from hell and went to Earth. That's when he took off his wings. He had Sandman take him off, and he kind of came up to back to Earth. But for some reason, he has to get his wings back. Now, in the little bit we saw of like next week's episode, we see that Lucifer's powers are weakening even more. He gets shot in the leg, and that they have to get something in order to get his powers back, and then they open up a chest, and it's Chloe and him opening up a chest. I'm pretty sure in that chest that those are going to be his wings. So he's going to get his wings back. So I don't quite know why or what that exactly means. Or maybe he'll find his wings, and then they'll get lost again. But I think the wings are going to start to play a part in the story.
Are they a mean of transportation?
They're like, well, Amenadiel has wings when
Right.
he comes down, and they're like
powerful. They
big
probably
and
lead to
black.
powerful things.
They mean that he,
Can go between realms, it almost seems.
yeah, and it could also mean that he's linked more into the angel
Right.
kind of world than he is. When he
You're
still has
stripped of your wings, you're in trouble.
right, and he could have more powers maybe when he gets his wings back. I don't know what they mean in the series.
That
itself.
chest might contain a phoenix down,
That's true.
or it could just be a mimic and eat them both, and that's the end of the series.
Yeah. You also brought up the idea that it could have the key to hell in it, which is a possibility, but I think it's more likely the wings. That's my guess.
What do
That's
you
my
think,
big-
Samantha? Prediction.
I'm guessing the key to hell. I'm going to go with you on
You're
that
gonna
one.
key to
I
hell.
do. Yeah, I just feel like there's a reason he needs to go back, and it's going to happen soon. Just because he's now getting used to his new position, he's liking it, and he's helping out with all these crimes. It's kind of the what's that word?
Antithesis.
Antithesis. Jeez, that's a hard one. Antithesis. One more time, people. But nonetheless, I really think that is against his entire being. So nonetheless, he's going to eventually get tired of this, or he's going to have to do something about it. And
Right.
that's his position. He's the devil. So if there is no devil and he's not down there, what's happening? And I did see a lot of the commenters saying that they're coming up on Earth and just wreaking havoc. So I'm
Right.
feeling like the more kind of case scenarios we may see may have something to do with a demon down the line.
Yeah, and also what I really like, I'm looking forward to next week's episode because I think this episode shows that this show is going to be swinging back and forth from supernatural to more straightforward case, and I'm going to always be leaning towards the supernatural, which, it's the same thing that happens in X-Files when they have a Freak of a Week episode versus the,
Overarching conspiracy.
overarching conspiracy. The supernatural stuff is going to be the overarching conspiracy, the big bad, as to borrow from Buffy, but is the big bad, and then the individual cases are going to be more straightforward,
Right.
probably crimes. So
Let me just say, if you're a fan of the X-Files, we literally have the creator in the studio next to ours right
do.
now. So
Well,
check
one of
out, after our show, go check out the X-Files After Show.
yeah,
Glenn Morgan's in there right now. It's pretty sick. They do a
Yeah.
good job breaking down the
he's
episodes.
he's one of the best writers for X-Files, and he's just
Like
he's
two
just
doors down.
It's amazing.
Not 3 doors down. Not talking about kryptonite here.
no.
Speaking of the X-Files,
Ugh.
I read that it was the evening's top-rated program last week, and which also really helped Lucifer's ratings. So I
Right.
really think it's good that these two are kind of morphing together, making Monday night that much more awesome.
So we had let's get into news.
Yeah.
Ooh.
News.
Oh boy.
I'm going to say one that you don't know yet, probably.
Okay, so there's an update with the 1 million moms. So they're upset now. They're offended by the fact that Olive Garden committed the sin of advertising during Fox's Lucifer, a show that's literally about how cool Satan is. They posted an entry on their
So
official
cool.
website titled, "Tell Lucifer sponsors no more sympathy for the devil." The organization is calling for its followers to contact Olive Garden and inform whoever answers the phone or reads the Twitter mentions that the restaurant chain is supporting sympathy towards the devil and glorifying Satan.
So, wait, we can't listen to freaking Guns N' Roses anymore?
No, it's Rolling Stone.
Oh, there's
Rolling
more.
Stone Sympathy for
Oh,
the
you're
Devil.
right. It is. Oh,
yeah.
shoot.
That's okay.
I'm thinking of the Cross album cover, Guns N' Roses. My bad. I'm gonna go turn in my metal card now.
It's all right.
Nonetheless. Okay, so there's a little bit more. Graffiti's been popping up, around the town, basically saying, watch Lucifer on billboards, on LA buses, on NBC Shades of Blue posters with little red eyes and horns on Jennifer Lopez, which is pretty funny. And even for the billboard on The Voice. Now, Tom Ellis had a response to this on Hollywood Today Live. He said, I don't condone it, but it is kind of quite funny.
Huh. So it's like a little viral marketing that's happening right now. Defacing other shows.
Yes.
The best kind of marketing there is.
Yeah, they're kind of pulling a Why So Serious, like Dark Knight.
Yeah, now we can get, now that the billboards are brought into this, we can get a Better Call Saul and Lucifer crossover.
Right.
Yes.
Totally down for that. My news is that my girlfriend scared the living crap out of me tonight because she walked up to me with a computer that says, network cancels Fallen Angel TV show.
Oh, that's the other one.
It was the Jane Lynch show.
Right.
They canceled it 5 episodes in, and I was like, I just had like a moment. I was like, no, they didn't. They didn't cancel. I was like, oh, it's Jane Lynch's show. Okay, got it. Yeah, bye.
Okay.
No, I love Jane Lynch, but
It's not Lucifer, nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm not doing the after show for it, so.
Yeah.
It's
Whoopsie.
so true. It's interesting, too, because most people may think that because Tom Ellis is playing the devil that he'd be a non-religious person. But I did read that he had a pretty religious upbringing. His dad, his uncle, his sister, and her husband are all Baptist pastors. And when asked about how they felt about him acting as the devil, he said they don't mind. They've seen it and know what it is. It's a piece of entertainment. He also said, when I read the script, I thought it was the funniest one of all time, and I was really happy when they asked me to do it.
Yeah, I much prefer kids watching Lucifer than freaking Kardashians and doing the Kylie Jenner lip challenge and stuff like that. Like,
Ooh, that was scary.
yeah, like people burst veins in their lips and it's gross. Or just like
It looks
buying
so
the butt cream or
dangerous.
spending hundreds of dollars on an app that does nothing. Like,
Yeah.
in the grand scheme of things that are going to mess up your kids, being a religious fanatic is probably the top of them, and then watching Lucifer is probably a little bit more towards the bottom.
Yeah,
Right.
and he's solving crimes, so it's all right.
I know, right? He only threw one guy through a window.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's also still a story about one's morality. It's, they're still there. It's fine. It's a good story.
Well, guys, that's gonna do it for us for the Lucifer After Show here on AfterBuzz TV. If you haven't already, please go to iTunes, search AfterBuzz Lucifer, and leave us a comment and a rating. Give us 5 stars if you so feel inclined. Check out all the other shows we do here. We do have 150 hours of content every single week. If you would like to follow me on Twitter, which I don't know why you would, but go ahead and follow me at Stephen Lemieux, StephenLemieux, and check out my network, The Popcorn Talk Network, at The Popcorn Talk for all your movie discussion needs, Marvel movie news, DC movie news, Jedi Alliance, all that stuff. Check it out. You're going to love it. And where can we find my magnificent co-host, Samantha?
Oh, me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Samantha_Benitz.
And my magnanimous co-host,
/ singer.
Mr. Dave Child.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Mr. Dave Child, or go to davechild.com and check that out.
We will see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.